He's the one that shot me for the Tracy Reese. Shot me.
Cute.
I had such a good time. Yeah, he's really good.
Okay.
We're talking about you.
Yeah,
Yes,
we are.
Talking about you.
It's all about you, boo.
Yeah. Yeah. And stylish
Okay,
too.
hi everybody. I wanted to say thank you so much for coming this evening to the Gwenny B pop-up, which is GB Flatiron, as per our hashtag on the wall. We've been open for about 3 weeks now, and this is our first ever physical space. So this is really, really exciting for us, and we're so happy so many of you were able to come and share in all of the pom-pom glory that is GB Flatiron. We're also super thrilled to have our incredible guest panel here today. So Maddie from Plus Model Mag will be moderating, and she'll be talking here with Mel Parrish and Alexandra Booth. And they're going to do this little thing quickly on Facebook Live. So even though we're rolling camera, you should feel free to take part in the discussion. These ladies are all about interactive, answering questions, and Maddie will repeat the question back so the whole audience and the people at home can hear it. So feel free to be a part of the conversation. And we'll probably go roll for about 15 minutes total. So if during that time you could just kind of keep your seats, that would be great. And after that, there will be more rosé and more sparkling wine and more music and fun to be had. And you're welcome to try on clothing and hang out for as long as you'd like after. So I think that's about it. And with that, we'll cut to camera.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Hello, everybody on Facebook
Hi,
Live.
Facebook.
Thank you so much. Tonight's panel is called The Truth About Being a Plus Size Model. The truth is, you can go on Google and figure out what you want to do, but we're going to give you the honest truth as we know it and as we lived it. And before we start, I want to introduce my esteemed guest. This is Melinda. Melinda, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a model, curtsy, and I'm here to talk about that.
Excellent. And Alexandra?
Yeah, I am a 30-year plus industry pioneer, and currently I am actually working with True Model Management, helping to launch their Curves division.
Awesome. So what we're going to be talking about today, and feel free, the people that are here, to ask any questions, raise your hand. We want to do this, 15 minutes, but I definitely want to make sure that if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you're on Facebook Live, definitely go ahead and ask. And if I don't get to your questions, I will get to them later when I get home on my couch drinking my wine. So tonight is for women who want to do this as a hobby, if you want to do this as a career, or you want to do this as a side gig. This is what tonight is all about. The 4 things, if you have been watching my own Modeling 101 that I've been doing on my couch with wine, you know that I talk about these 4 essential things: research, time, patience, and money. That is what we're going to be talking about, because those are the essential things that you need to know about entering into the modeling industry. So I want to first, everyone has the same question: how do you approach an agency? So we have Alexandra here who works in an agency. So I want her to answer this question for you. How do you approach an agency? How do you write in? If you have to write it, what kind of photos do you send in? Alexandra, could you speak to that?
Of course, yeah. Okay, so obviously with the day and age of the internet, the best way to approach an agency, especially if you're not in the large cities where the fashion industry is concentrated, like New York, is that you can go on a website and you would want to submit. And when you submit with something that we call, Polaroids. It's not really, because it used to be Polaroids back in the day, but now, digitals.
Snapshots.
Yeah, you can take them with your iPhone or, whatever the case may be, but each agency will have, different shots that they require you to upload. And then, of course, some statistics about yourself, your measurements, and your height, and different things like that. And then the agency will contact you if they're interested.
And so, what did she not say? She didn't say for you to write in, I have a dog and 2 cats, and I live with my mother. We don't need to know all that. That's not what we need to know. We need to know that you are available, what city you reside in, how old you are, what size do you wear, and also measurements. Measurements are very, very important. So I do want to just bring in my little prop over here really quickly, because I want you guys to know how to properly measure yourself, because this is very important. So we're going to use this picture, and I'm going to have Melinda help. Alexandra, please let them know how to properly measure themselves and where.
Sure. Okay, now an agency will take very in-depth measurements of you when you go. But, here, that. Let's prop it this way. But there are 3 main ones that you need, okay? And I've got, I'm pulling this out of my bra, okay? All right, that's where a lot of things live for me, okay? So you've got your measuring tape, and what you want to do is you need to get 3 main measurements. One is your bust measurement. It's good, of course, to share your bra size, but your full around bust measurement, and that's taken right across, of course, this is obviously just a picture, but it's taken right across the center of your bust, which is called the apex. That's a fancy way of saying nipple. You want to take that measurement right across the nipple area so that you get it full around. And then the second measurement that's really important for you is your waist. Now, a lot of us, let's just be honest, in the curves world, finding your waist is you bend to the side, and where you go in when you're bending to the side, that's your natural waist. Or also another way is just when you put your hands on your waist, it'll naturally go to that indentation. So again, you take that measurement of the waist, making sure that your measuring tape is flat and all the way around you, and it helps if you have someone to help you to make sure that it's not falling or twisted, because things happen. So that's your second measurement that's very important. And then the third measurement would be your low hip, which is, some people don't know where to get it. It's the largest part of your hip, the biggest part around, and that falls in different areas for some women. When you go in, they'll be able to say it's 9 inches down or 10 inches down, whatever the agency needs specifically, but they really are interested in knowing your full hip measurement.
Excellent. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah.
So now,
Our fancy visuals.
so we talked about measurements, and we talked about how to approach an agency. What happens if the agency says, come on in? How are you supposed to present yourself? And I think we wanted Melinda to talk about what a fresh face looks like. I did a casting, and a girl walked in like she literally just rolled out of the bed. That's not fresh face for modeling. That's literally getting out of your bed and coming to my casting. That's not what I meant. So can you speak about how you present yourself?
Now, there are certain occasions where it's truly like no makeup, but for the most part, a client or an agency is going to specify absolutely no makeup. If
Right.
it doesn't say absolutely no makeup, then the general rule of thumb is fresh. You want even skin tone, so like a little BB or CC cream or a little pressed powder, mascara, a little lip gloss. You're not gonna do like a strong contour and a winged eye,
Right.
and lashes, but you can like zhuzh up a little bit, make sure that everything looks clean, fresh, bright, as good as it can look, without looking artificial or overly made up.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, at times, an agency or a possible client, maybe you walked into the agency and they said, you know what, we have a client that's perfect for you, and they just called in this morning. We're going to go ahead and call them, and they want to see you. You may or may not have been, obviously prepared for this. How important is it for you to be prepared in a situation like that, especially when you're riding around town and you're taking the subway, and we're women, we sweat. It's New York City, you take subways. Let's talk about hygiene, Alexandra.
Yeah, we're going to keep this really real.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you're your own product. Never forget that you're your own business. And so you have to be on point from head to toe at any point. That means that you need to have deodorant, you need to be shaved, you need to be bikini ready. That means, get it all together down there. The legs shaved. Yeah, you have to, because you never know. Even if you think you're booked for, let's just say you're going to casting and you're there for, clothing, they may say, oh my gosh, we love you. You'd be fabulous in bathing suits. Will you go try this on? And if you come out and you're not prepared for that, you don't look professional. Or if you show up smelling because you were sweating from, rushing on the subway, it happens to all of us. You don't look professional. So you really want to, and I know we're going to get into model's bag later, always be prepared. Keep a deodorant, keep breath mints, keep things in your model's bag so that you're ready to represent and be professional at any time.
Yes, and since she mentioned model's bag, Melinda, tell us about what your model's bag is, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, what is a model's bag?
So the most basic configuration is I try to keep like a clean nude thong, heels, a strapless bra, and a couple hygiene products to be ready for any situation.
Right.
Different castings and bookings, there will be what's called bring-alongs that are specified, like, hey, make sure the model brings XYZ. But that tends to be more case by case. you don't want to like weigh yourself down and carry 4 bags with you with everything you might need, but keep that basic kit ready to go. A little shapewear, a pair of Spanx, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She brings up a really good point. It's so amazing when you're a curves model because you get to be almost like a chameleon. You get to be whatever the client wants. If they ask for, you know, a bigger bust, you wear a push-up bra or padded bra. If they ask for you to be a little smaller, then you can wear Spanx and you can bring in those measurements. We have curves that we can manipulate to fit in what a client's looking for, and it makes us much more versatile. So your first question should be, when you find out there's a casting, really, do you know what they're looking for? What's the client looking for?
Right.
And then you try and be that. So there's a little bit of an acting piece to being a really good plus model.
Excellent. So now let's say we're at the point you either get accepted by the agency, we want to work with you, get a contract, or they say, you know what, you're not right for us at the moment. How do you turn that negative moment into a positive moment? How would you like the model that, I'm not going to say rejected, I'm going to say it wasn't the right time for her or she was not prepared, you know, for that time. How should she come back to you, let's say 4 months down the line?
Okay, this is the fashion industry, and it's tough. There's a lot of rejection. There's a rejection in trying to get signed, possibility of rejection. There's going on castings if you do get signed and clients will reject you. So there has to be a point when you say, okay, you know, maybe this one's mine, not mine, and I'm going to celebrate my sister who did get it.
Right.
Or this one is mine, and yay, there's enough for everyone to go around. But if you get rejected, you can either let that be a big, you're not enough, and it's an excuse, and you let it get in your way for your success, or you can take that information that you've learned and you turn it into good information to develop yourself from. You know, this is feedback.
Absolutely.
Am I going to take that constructive criticism and make myself wrong and not go for my dreams, or am I going to take that constructive criticism or that rejection and make it where it's something that empowers me?
Exactly. So Melinda, you started about 3 years ago.
Yes.
Can you tell us, has there been a situation where you went to a casting or you went to an agency before you were with True and you were not taken in or you did not get the job? How did that feel and how did you move on from that?
Well, and I would say to just have realistic expectations, you're probably going to be rejected more than you aren't, even if you are successful. Like, I go on castings all the time and I don't get every single one, and that's you know, rejection. And different agencies are looking for different things in different markets at different times. So I'm here with True in New York, but there are other agencies that have turned me away and there are other that have taken me in. So it's really about finding the place where you can excel and do the best. And clients are looking for different things. I get turned away for not having a big enough booty, or like I'm too big one day, I'm too small the next day, my legs are too muscular, and then you know, my legs are not big enough. So you can't take it in, you can't take it personally. Everybody basically is looking at you as a clothes hanger. Do my clothes hang correctly on your body? So just take it with a grain of salt and know that there, like Alexandra said, there's enough for everybody. There's a client for every body type and every girl, so just keep looking.
And also, this is a business. You bring up a really good point. This is not the place for you to develop your confidence, because this industry is ruthless. It's about a business. It's about selling clothes and selling an image or selling a campaign. So this is not where, you know, I often ask aspiring models, why do you want to be a model? I want to be a role model. I remember one time I was doing a panel just like this, not on Facebook Live. And the woman said she was in her 40s. She had her doctorate. And she said, I want to be a model because I want to be a role model. And I literally had tears in my eyes, and I said to her, you already are a role model. You have your doctorate, you're a single mother. I mean, she told me her whole story and I was in tears. This is not the industry for you to inspire, though. You can inspire women on social media all day long, but the modeling industry is actually a business. Like, if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to school, you go to med school, you have to do your internship. Same thing applies. There is no magic pill for you to become an instant success. Ashley Graham did not become Ashley Graham overnight. She didn't even know she was going to be Ashley Graham when she first started. So you have to really follow your journey. in that path, you know, and within that path, you're going to talk about, we talked about patience, time. Let's talk about money. Yes, everyone here did a little sigh. Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
The truth is you do have to invest in yourself in the modeling industry. When you're going to be that doctor, aren't you investing and taking all those loans and praying to God you can make those bills? Same thing applies. These girls make a lot of sacrifices. Not only do they have to make sacrifices to go to castings, but they have to look a certain way. They have to have their hair always done. Their skin has to be great. They have to have the proper attire. So let's talk about the type. And you don't have to give us exactly, but approximately how much money have you spent in a year?
In a year, I don't know. In a couple years, I would say like overall the startup process in modeling, and what I tell other girls is like, just have $10,000 that literally you have nothing better to do with than like drive down the highway, throwing it out the car window, because that is how the first couple years are going to feel.
Right.
You're just like, pay for that, like, and it is a process. But with any industry, like you said, doctor, sandwich artist, I don't care what you do. There's like uniforms, there's classes, there's training, and you have to do all that in modeling as well. And there is no shortcut. Like you said, you have to build your book. You have to pay to shoot with really good photographers if you want a really strong book.
Yes.
You can do it over time. You can pace yourself and honor yourself financially as you do that, but just expect that it's going to require an investment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say you're doing all this. You got the no from Alexandra. Boo.
The bad guy.
What do you do in the meantime within those 4 months? Because I always kind of feel like, you know, come back to me in 4 months. If someone comes to me and I see their book, you're not there yet. You need to shoot with different photographers. You need a more polished look. You know, sometimes I'll give them certain advice. And this is what a development person does. You know, they give you advice to tell you, cut your hair, dye it, you know, whatever. Come back to me in 4 months. And also practice. That's what happens. You have to practice your posing. Because, and I'll tell you a quick story, sometimes I give aspiring models an opportunity, you know, to come in and shoot with signed models. So I have a signed model that's absolutely new, and then I have an aspiring model that came in, and she's been after me for years. I can do this, Maddie. I can do it. You just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. You know what she does? She gives me 4 poses and says, can I get a mirror? Because I ran out of poses.
Oh, no.
A model never runs out of poses. There is no such thing that should never come out of your mouth. That right there told me you are not prepared. You thought this was going to be easy and you thought it was just about you. This was never about you, darling. This was about the clothes. So that's what that told me, that she was not prepared. So in moving forward and within those 4 months, what are you doing during those 4 months? You are preparing yourself. You're taking the advice of what the person said to you. You're not the right look right now. Maybe if you cut your hair, maybe you need to go down a couple of inches or up a couple of inches, you know, whatever it is that they tell you. And then you go back to them and you say, look, I've been working. This is my book. Not, I'm going to show them, not the attitude to take. I find that sometimes people, because you're taking it personally, you feel like I have to go back and I have to show them. That's not the attitude to take. If you want this to be your career or hobby or a side gig, take a kind approach. You want people to like you. People want to work with people that they like, that are kind, that are genuine, that smile with them. I don't want to have, you know, a model sitting there with, you know, a puss on her face. I don't want that. I want someone that's going to be happy to be with me and happy to, you know, be working with me and happy about the industry and what they're doing. So I feel like once they go back to you, you know, what do you want to see, you know, from them when they come back to you, let's say 4 or 5 months later?
Well, you want to see commitment. You want to see growth.
Right.
You want to see maturity. It excites me when a model, they realize it's not about them.
Right.
You know? In fact, if they come in with the attitude, okay, use me. I'm here. I'm willing to work hard. I'm going to be professional. You know, I'm willing to give my all, and they've actually, you see some growth, and there's so much to work on. There's finding your brand.
Yes.
Finding your voice. There's building your social media platform. It's a new day with modeling. It's no longer just about being able to move in front of the camera and having that kind of a skill set. It's literally about building a brand and having a voice as well, for many of us. Not all, but for many of us. And to me, that's exciting, because it means you're not just a clothes hanger. You literally can give back and help propel forward with your voice and have a statement and something to say. And it also opens up everything for aspiring models and models, because all of a sudden we can write books and be more than just an e-com model.
Exactly.
Well,
that goes right back to what the lady was saying, the doctorate, the lady with her doctorate. She doesn't have to be a model to be a role model. You can be a role model through your social media, through your blog, speaking engagements. You don't have to be a model. That's the way it used to be. When Alexandra was a model, she had an agent that sent her to castings, and she went, did her job, collected her check, and that was it. There was no social media back then. So for us now, if you're starting as a model, social media has a lot to do with your branding. And what exactly is branding? And then we're going to get into Mel's branding project, which I love.
Okay, well, first, let's wind back to social media. You guys, whatever you put out there, let me tell you, it's so important, because clients are looking at that and agencies are looking at that. So if a girl comes in and they want to be represented, I'm like, okay, looking at the Instagram feed. Okay, if she's getting drunk and dropping the F-bomb right and left and, flipping the bird off at the camera, is this really someone that Macy's is going to want to hire to rep their brand? No, it's not. You have to make sure that you're professional and on point in that social media, because they are checking.
Yes.
And also, if you show up to a job because you are a booked model and you're looking all exhausted and hungover, they get on that Facebook and they can see, oh, okay, she was out at 3 a.m. at the bar, partying with her sisters. And so this is, they'll send you home. You literally can lose jobs, be sent home from jobs.
Yes.
You can not be signed. It can make or break you by your voice and your brand on social media.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
and to go back to what you were talking about with having a good attitude, there's a very well-known model that if I said her name, you would all know exactly who I'm talking about, who worked with a very well-known client, and again, you would all know. So she left a booking, felt like she was slighted because there were other girls there who were bigger names than her, and put kind of a sourpuss post on social media. The client didn't book her the next time around because they remembered that she got salty on social media, and it happens at all levels.
Oh, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I know a lot of those instances, actually.
Yeah.
You think that because these brands are really big and, they're not going to notice if I write this. Oh, they notice.
They notice.
Trust me. There's a lot of people on that not to-do list or not to hire list because they decided to go kind of rogue on social media. But let's talk about your branding, because you're 3 years in and you've been working with Alexandra in terms of your branding. Tell me about your special projects.
Sure. Well, when I got into modeling, I was definitely looking to have a voice and make a difference. And so I started blogging just on my own on a personal website that I managed. And then those posts got picked up by other outlets, and I started to feel like I was building a little bit of traction. And then talking with Alexandra and others, was able to start honing in and really crafting my own brand and a message that was really just based on my experience.
Right.
So that's healthy at any size. And for me, my journey has been that I'm a lifelong athlete. I've always been like that big, awkward girl. So coming into this from that perspective, I had a past of having issues with my body, and I am in recovery from an eating disorder, and I've opened up about that a lot more recently. So I've really enjoyed the combination of both being a model and being a social influencer. And I think that's kind of what Alexandra was speaking to.
Right.
And the biggest thing I would say to anybody that's looking to get into modeling is you don't have to be signed with an agency to be a person of significance and to help other women and to be a role model, because you have so many tools at your disposal.
Absolutely.
And there are so many models that we could name who work their butts off. Those girls are rolling in dough from e-com bookings. You would never know who they are. You don't know what they stand for because they haven't done that. So I think the approach that Alexandra's talking about, really viewing it as a chance to be more than a model, to be a voice, is the way to go.
Because there's models that actually don't want to do it, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But if you're an aspiring model and you feel like, I didn't get signed, while you're in that process, maybe that's something that you want to share. Hey guys, I'm an aspiring model. I didn't get signed, but I'm going to keep on moving. And today I'm going to shoot, and tomorrow I'm going to go to a networking event, and go through that process and share that process, and you might be able to, meet other women that are also going through the process, and even going to events like this. This is what I did. We didn't have Facebook Live when I first started, but I did something very similar. I went to the Plus Academy here in New York. I learned how to walk the runway. I learned posing from seasoned models, Lisa Scott, Sharon Quinn. These were models that were on the Avenue campaigns. So it was very important for me to invest in myself, and I thought I was going to be Ashley Graham. Clearly I was not, but I also feel like everybody wants to be a model. Maybe you're not supposed to be a model. Maybe you're supposed to be a social influencer. Maybe you're supposed to be something else, a stylist, a makeup. This industry is made up of all of us. It's not just of being a model. No shade to models. Love the models, plus Model Magazine.
Hey.
But I feel like we put so much of an emphasis on just being a model. You can be it all. You can be a model, a social influencer. You can be someone of significance in this industry and not have to be a signed model. If that's your journey, it will happen. If it's not your journey, you can still work as a model. You know, at any age. There's so many opportunities now happening for us. So I think it's really important not to just focus on that, because you may be missing out on your true purpose if you're just focused on that and that really wasn't your purpose.
Yeah.
Because we don't need another Ashley Graham. We need more Maddie Jones.
Oh, yes. Yes, we definitely need more. I don't know how many more years I could do this. So I'm going to open it up to the floor. Do you guys have any specific questions? Any true hardcore questions? Yes.
Height is very big, major. I just want to know, because I'm not 5'9" and above. I'm actually 5'6", 7. So it's hard for me, and I've been searching. Do you guys have any?
Can I take this
Go
one?
ahead.
I want to explain why that's important. Why because there's a prejudice with the height, and it's really hard to, understand that if you're not looking at it from the inside. But let me explain. What often happens is that the manufacturers, the brands, they make samples that are to be shot for the photography. And the samples, they have a sample size. They don't have time to make it a garment in all sizes necessarily. And so in order for it to hang properly, have the right, where it hits on the wrist, or have the leg, hit properly, you can't be too tall or too short. There's like a sweet spot for showing off the garments. So that's why that existed, and why they have, that in the olden days especially, it was one size model kind of thing, It's opened up obviously more so with plus, but even then you have to have a sample size. So that's why that exists. But there's other kinds, if it's stopping you, the height. I don't know if you've heard about fit modeling. Fit modeling, you can be shorter. Yeah, totally make a lot of money. If you don't know about fit modeling, True Model Management is just the bomb agency for fit modeling. Our founder, Dale Noel, she is the queen of fit. She established the industry. So honestly, there's different ways that with your height that you can plug in different aspects of the industry. You can be a showroom model if for bathing suits or lingerie. Where height isn't called into question, but for the regular clothes modeling, that's why that exists and why there's that limitation.
And I will say, with that being said, there are some brands, very few and far between, who will work with girls that are not that standard size, but those are very few and far between, and there's a lot of pinning and all that other stuff involved. Sometimes they have to have a seamstress, so it doesn't happen often, but it does happen, and we are seeing a little bit of that, where you see different heights and whatever. And even what Gwennaby is doing, they're doing the review models. Their models are not the standard models. They're using everyday women, bloggers and influencers, and they're showing what the clothing looks on us regular women. So kudos to Gwennaby for doing that.
It's
Seriously.
empowering. It's empowering what they're doing.
Yes.
The brand is doing for women.
Awesome. So I want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and thank you ladies for being here. We're going to be here, and we're going to sign off with Facebook Live, but we're going to be here to answer all of your questions. If you want to talk to us privately, we're going to be here having some wine, chit-chatting, taking some pictures. Thank you so much, Facebook Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yay. Yay.